Everyone to our first Happy at Home session for 2022. I can't believe this is our third year already doing this series. If you're here and you're watching, then go ahead and let me know in the comments because I can't wait to hear what you think. We are going to talk about rainbow stenciling today. It's something that I've been having a lot of fun with. I actually have a class coming out in Sarah Scrap's exclusive community. So that will be released fairly soon. And we're going to go a little behind the scenes. Hello, Gina. Yay, working. So thank you so much. I'm just going to practice sharing something. So Gina says hi. And Dion says, hi, Alice, I love this series. Great, I'm so glad that you're here. We are going to talk about rainbow stenciling. And so I had to wear my rainbow shirt, right? Gotta have some rainbows. I thought we would do some demo with rainbow stencils, but I'd also show you a little bit of some rainbow stencils that I'd done. I'd show you some layouts that I had done, and I just wanted to bring all of the fun things together. Yeah, Jackie, she noticed my rainbow shirt. She's like, oh yeah. I've been looking forward to this series so much. So if you have stencils, whether they are 12 by 12 stencils or you have smaller stencils and they are 6 by 6 or any of the other strange sizes, I'm going to tell you, like, storing stencils can be a bit of a challenge until you figure it out. So hello, aloha from Brooklyn, says Lisa. So I'm just going to show you my method of storing my stencils. I actually have a binder for all of my stencils. I have quite a few now. I've found a few really great stencils. And so I had to split my smaller stencils, and I just used a regular old binder and some page protectors. So how about if I switch to my other mode here? Does that work? Oh, no, it doesn't. Okay, so let's play this one and tell it to add this to it. How about that? And then let's flop those because that would be better. Okay, how about that? You can see my screen now, right? So, or see my desk. Ooh, it's rather close. Okay, so this is my binder. As you can see, it's not in great shape. It is an old binder that I had for scrapbooking. These binders were actually from close to my heart, and they were designed for you to kind of build an album and then you could put it into your pages. You know, that albums that, you know, have the solid pins, and they're super inconvenient when you have to add one more page into the middle of the binder. These were kind of a cheap version of an album that would allow you to kind of do that without all the struggle. Oh, see, sweaty hands, gross. Anyways, so I sort. Oh, it doesn't like shiny. Doesn't like shiny. So I sort my album, I put my things in here with a piece of cardstock in between so that I can double side them. And the two stencils aren't sticking together, because if you try putting one stencil next to another, inevitably they're going to get stuck together. One of them's going to get torn, and then you've paid all this money for this tool that you can keep using, but now you can't. And then I just make my own little labels. These ones are a punch that I have. And yeah, we can just have a look. Like, I have a few different categories. So the categories I have in my large ones, it really depends on how many stencils you have, if you need to even go to that level of sorting them. I have some for hearts, some for alphas, some for circles, geometric, swirly, and icons. And I like swirly is just literally the ones that are all really feminine and swirly, right? So the words don't even have to make sense to other people as long as they make sense to you. And really, I thought I was going to use the same categories when I went to my smaller book for the smaller stencils, but I actually needed different categories. So that's something to kind of consider, that depending on the size, you might be drawn to different kinds of stencils. So in here, I ended up, I don't have them all sorted. So I have layered stencils. Most of my layered stencils are florals. So I actually have gathered all of my floral and botanicals together so that those are easy to access. And then after that, you'll see some geometrics, and you're going to see some circles, and they're kind of in the same kind of thing. So yeah, just thought we'd start by talking about the organization. If you have a lot of them, then putting them into something like this is really good. With a regular binder for the smaller ones, this fits like any that are less than 9 inches tall and like all of the other sizes, right? So any of the big ones, I just put into my big album. But like this can be really cheap. Like how much is a package of these page protectors just from Staples or Office Depot or wherever you have? The page protectors don't have to be expensive. My paper in between on these ones is not expensive either. It is copy paper. It's pretty copy paper because it's pink, but you know, like it's just copy paper. It's just an album that my kids actually took to high school, and I rescued it. I threw out all their old school stuff and I rescued it. So like my costs for this book are pretty minimal, but at least now I have them all organized in a way I can access them. I was gonna say it that weird. Yeah, so I just thought we'd talk about that first because you know, you start off and you just have a couple of stencils and you're like, oh, okay, this is fun. And then you get a couple more stencils, and then you find great sites that have stencils. Like I know Paige Evans has some stencils, and I actually have stencils from Scrapping Reflections. Now, shout out to Sandy. She is one of my absolute faves. And yeah, so I have several of hers. Gina says, I have mine set up the same way. I love how it keeps them nice and flat. Flat and separate. Like those are kind of the biggest goals, right? The other thing I thought we would talk about before we dive into the fun part is looking at how we clean our stencils. Now that really depends on what you're using on your stencils. I'm going to pull out one that we're going to play with maybe later. Oh, here's such a fun one. Okay, I'm so excited. Oh, and I haven't played with this one yet. Let's try this one. This one looks fun. So this is a fun one. This one is from Scrapping Reflections, scrappingreflections.com for anybody that is looking. And what I love about this is that she gives you both pieces. So you have the positive and the negative per se. It's super beautiful. So with this stencil, having both pieces allows you to do some things differently, which I think is pretty fun. Because you can like block it in really easy. Yeah, Vicky says that mine are all in binders with page protectors but have not used the paper. Yeah, slipping the paper in lets you use both sides. It's much better. And Gina says, I set mine up the same way. I love how it keeps them flat. So yeah, we've got some great things. Yeah, and Samara said that this is how I store mine. So apparently we've all caught on to this, so we'll move on. So stencils that have like all of the fun details like this, they're so beautiful. And then we have so many different options, and that's what we wanted to talk about today, what some of the options are when we're coloring them. Obviously, with all of these florals in the background, whatever background paper we choose, whether it's white, whether it's not white, right? That's a whole extra game to play. Whether we choose a pattern paper that has maybe a subtle design in the background, those are all really fun ways to play with our stencils and get different effects. And I thought we should talk about a little bit about the application of that and how that comes into play for what we're creating. So I just thought maybe I would start by showing you these two stencils first. The first one, oh, I should pull the stencil and then we can really look at it actually. So that'll be in my geometrics. Might be back a little bit before we look at that one. So this stencil that I'm grabbing is called a halftone stencil, and it's from Prima Finnabair. And it's kind of interesting because it uses all little diamond shapes. Like, they're actually little squares if you turn it sideways, but they're little diamond shapes. So we're going to set this one aside. That's the one we're going to play with today. But this one here has little diamonds all over it. And they start out big around all the edges, and they progressively get smaller as you edge into the center. And the center, like, there might be little dots, but like literally you can't even get ink through them. Yeah. Oh, I know. Some beautiful stencils, right? This one is kind of interesting. I thought it makes almost like a zooming in, almost like you're looking into a tunnel effect. You know how it is when you're looking at something and your perspective changes, right? The big things are close to you and the little things are far away. This stencil does that when you create it, and especially in certain ways. So I have played with this a little bit. If you're on my Instagram and you check out my Instagram, you're probably going to, you may have seen this in my reels already. Let me see. There's a little thing that I can put up. There's my Instagram. I can put it on the screen and everything. So it's over that way, I guess. Yeah, and so I tried inking this in different ways, which is why I had the inspiration to talk about rainbow stenciling today. So this is one way that I chose to ink this stencil. I so wish the lighting was better. My camera doesn't like my desktop. I tried laying something else down. It didn't like that either. So we are gonna have to work with this. I had a different camera set up and then it stopped working. Oh, it doesn't like my white at all. Okay, so let me hold it up and we'll convince it to like that a little bit more. So you can see with this stencil, I used rainbow stenciling, but I stenciled with different colors in concentric circles. So we've got the pink around the outside, and then we've got the orange, and then we've got the yellow, and then we've got the green, and then we've got the blue kind of aqua color all the way into the purple. And so when you're looking at this layout, you have the rainbow, but it's almost like, wow, okay, get over it, camera, get over it. It's almost like leading you into a tunnel as you look at this. So I thought that was really interesting, but you know, we can't be crafty and not play, right? We can't be crafty and not play. So I also tried this with a different pattern. So this pattern here, I started with my pinks and went to my oranges. And I did this with yellows and greens and the teal blues to the purple. So this one I did in radiant, like, so it's all out from the center, right? Everything is out from the center. And you can kind of see how that makes such a different effect. Can I convince this to just focus for 2 freaking seconds? I'm sorry. This is driving me nuts. And I just think it's really interesting how we get different effects using that same stencil. And that's one of the magical things about stencil, that they can look really different. So this one I think looks quite different than this one, just with the way that I lined up the colors. And these are not all of the options, right? So we can go around in circles. We can do stripes out like sun rays, out like this one. We can do up and down stripes, switching to different colors. We can go across ways, switching to different colors. We could do diagonal, switching to different colors. There are so many ways for us to play with adding rainbow, and I thought this would be great. So let's put something here that my camera hates a little less. Well, maybe? Yeah, and I'll show you this layout. This is actually, did I make this one during Scraps our Happy at Home last year? Potentially. I think I made this background last year, but I finally used it. So here we go. Oh, let me put this thing away. And yeah, so I finally used it. This was a paint that I did through a scrapping reflection stencil. Yes, shout out to Sandy. Like, I'm not getting paid to shout her out, but seriously, she's wonderful. So shop with her anyways. This is her All the Stars stencil, and I did paint on this one. And when I finished the layout, I added a little bit of glitter to some of them, just some of them as outlines and some of them covering the whole little star. so you can kind of see different things. But I love the effect with the paint. I didn't like washing up the paint. I'm gonna tell you, like, this paint didn't come off my stencil very well, and it's not something that I'm going to keep going after. I like products that are easier to clean up because cleanup counts, and I like to reuse my stencils. So tell me, have you used something on your stencil? Like, let me know in the chat. If you're watching it on the replay, let me know on the replay. Have you used something on your stencils that was a nightmare to clean off? Because I have, and this paint kind of was one of them. I'll tell you, this was a Dilutions paint from Diane Reevely, I think. That's right. Dilutions is hers. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, the paint wasn't very easy to clean off, and I really like my stencils to be clean when I pull them out. And I know some people don't care, but I do. So I want it to be clean. But yeah, I thought this turned out good. I was able to do a now picture. This is my 20-year, this is already 5 years ago, you guys. 5 or more? Ooh, 5 years. 5 years ago. 5? No, 3. It's a few years ago. So good at math. And then this is us at graduation. Oh my gosh. So I loved putting both of the pictures to the layouts here together. So really fun. Okay, how about if we lay a piece of paper and we do something fun, and then we'll talk about some other ways. So did you guys want to see an example? I still have stencil with gesso that's on 10 years later, says Daniela. And Dion says, I used paste and didn't soak my stencil right away and had to use some elbow grease to get it off. To clean that stars, to get that paint off of those stars, I had to use my craft scrubby, and I basically ended up scrubbing away like this much of a layer on my craft scrubby. Yeah, Samara says I use Dawn soap to wash off my stencils. Yeah, I do have a sink that I keep really handy when I use just inks. I just do that here on my desktop. I have this old mat. You can see it's been around the block. This mat has done some work in its days. Let's see if I can make this straight. Is that straight for you or straight for me? Because it's not straight for me. Like, we'll try to make it as straight as possible so that it kind of lines up. There we go. We'll call that straight. Ish. So with this stencil, I was thinking, like, I would like to leave the center part clear. Now, when you're stenciling, that always seems like a good idea, but it's less easy to execute. Yeah, and so we want to think of how we're going to apply the color to this stencil. I'm going to show you two other things before we start with this one. So this is an example of a stencil that I used, and it used like a gradient. I used like a diagonal approach to this one to keep the colors going across. So I started with my pink to orange to yellow to green to aqua to blue. Why don't I use real blue? I don't know. Like, do you guys like that better? Or would you do you prefer a more traditional rainbow? I actually barely ever use red either. I tend to use pink and I tend to use aqua. And is that just a sign of what's popular right now? I don't know. Vicky says, the eye zinc diamond glitter, it took a lot of cleaning because it dried so fast. Yeah, I have some eye zinc glimmer pay. I don't remember what it was called. Also nightmare to clean off. I'm done with paint. I'm done with paint. No more paint. But then I buy paint. So, yeah. And even this, like, I like both, right? I've done it twice, but you know, I've done one a little bit more vibrant, a little bit more colorful, so you can see that this is a little bit darker. You know, I like them both. So, you know, it just really depends. And you don't have to, like, the thing I like about rainbows is you don't need a ton of colors to do a rainbow effect, right? You don't need a ton. You can have a few colors. Like, yeah, you can see I use a pink Sometimes I use a different pink, but if you have one pink, you're good to go. I do have red. I own it. Do I use it? Not so much. Some nice yellow. And I try to buy colors that fit tonally together. So here are the colors that I tend to use the most. So if you're looking for colors that fit together, look for colors in a color family. If you like bright, bright, bright colors, then get ones that are all tonally bright, bright, bright. Don't get one that looks like something you'd use in the fall or something that you'd use for a baby page, like the sweet little pastel-y baby. You need ones that kind of work together. So I think that's one of my first rules for rainbow anything. Pick your rainbow colors so that they fit the same tones. And if tones is the wrong word and you're one of the people that knows all the fancy stuff about color, just know I'm portraying it in the way that makes sense in my head. You want these to all kind of feel like they're playing together on the playground. And when you do that, your stuff will work out really well, right? If you're using colors that fit together, it works out together. So this is one where the background paper is a it was a cut file, pre-cut cut file that I got from a scrapbook store in Edmonton, Treasured Memories, shout out. And then I laid a heart stencil onto the layout, and then I laid the polka dot stencil over top of it. Did you know that? You can sometimes layer stencils and it can work. So have you done that, and have you even thought to try it? Like, it can work. With this one, because it was a big open space, that circles, they fit in there really well, and it worked good. If you have too much dimension between the layers, you might have to be careful. Because I was using just ink on this one, it wasn't too bad, and I taped it down a lot. That is one of the secrets, tape it down a lot. And then, I used the little buttons. So I actually color matched my inks like with my buttons that I had. So though I matched the ink colors to the buttons. I thought they were cool. The buttons are from Dress It Up Buttons. And I tell you, until I had these buttons, I was kind of out of love with buttons. But now I'm in love again. Okay. So, we also should talk about application before we start diving into this. Okay. Here was just another one I was going to show you. I thought it was really pretty. I used dark oranges to light oranges to yellows to greens. And I only stayed in that color palette because I was doing something with pumpkin. So oranges and greens kind of worked with pumpkin pie. And that way I just kind of stayed in that part of the family. So even if you're rainbowing, it doesn't have to be the full rainbow, right? It's up to you. You're the boss of your stuff. Those paints are probably the worst things I ever had to take off of my templates. But yeah, there's some things that wash off great. The Nuvo Glacier Paste, I think we played with that last year. So just look for the one that says Glacier Paste if you want to watch the replay. Super fun. That stuff washes off no problem. You just have to watch because it has like little mica parts in it. So it's really fine. And you might have to do a little extra scrubbing, like maybe double wash those. Otherwise, you're going to have a little bit of leftover mica on them. It happens. And so this is one that when I did this stencil, this was definitely done last year. So you can look for this one. And I can't believe I haven't used it yet because I think I'm hoarding it. Oh, it kind of happens. I really love it, and so I'm kind of ordering it. But I did this one last year with all the different colors. I think we were using re-inkers for this one, actually. That one might be under re-inkers. But one thing that I did that you can really see are the swipe lines, right? Because I swiped the color. So there are different ways that you can apply your colors with stencils to get different effects, and I love it. Sophia says Murphy's oil soap takes off almost anything. You might need to soak it for a day, but it's amazing. I use that on all my wood floors and all the wood stuff in my house, so I say she's right. That stuff is amazing. So all of the streaky lines, like I love that effect, and it's just something cool. I did see recently on a video where when you swipe only in one direction, you can kind of get directional highlights on your stencil, and I was like, might need to try that. So shall we set it up and play? Like, we've talked plenty. That's enough talking. Let's start doing. I really like the big circle. Thanks, Gina. I love that one too. I'm like, ooh, you can see why I'm kind of hoarding it, right? So bad. It's not like I'm short of paper. It's not like I couldn't make it again, but I'm kind of hoarding it. Okay, so I'm going to tape down my paper and then tape down my stencil. I have tried taping paper to stencil and stuff, and it just doesn't seem to work for me. So I just prefer to go a little bit harder on the tape and tape down good. This tape is really, really wide, so I tend to cut it, well, rip it. It's time to cut. I remember that one, says Vicky. It's so beautiful. Yeah, some of them, they just turn out so good. I can't believe I haven't used it. I'll have to make sure, I have to make a pile of these and say I'm going to use these during the May load for sure. I did use a bunch of stuff actually during the February load, and I was really excited to finally get that stuff used. Okay, so the paper is secure. Let's get my stencil tape down too. I know it feels like a pain to have to tape everything down, but trust me, the moment that you spend taping everything down is so worth it. Therese says, hello, hello. So happy that you're joining us. These sessions are very informal. I just kind of play and create, share some of the tips and tricks that I've learned along the way, and hopefully we just all have, well, that's not very straight. Who lined this up? Where's my assistant to blame? Okay, here we go. Let's do a better job of lining that up and try again. Yeah, I just play and create. If you're not aware, my name is Alice Bull. I run the membership group at scraphappy.org, where we do a lot of different creative things. And we have some live sessions. We bring in guests sometimes. We have our 3 load layout a day challenges every year. So there's a lot of fun going on at Scrap Happy, and if that is something that you might be interested in, pop over to scraphappy.org/join. Do I have a thing here? Just go to scraphappy.org and that'll show you. How do I turn that on? Oh, that's for the newsletter. But scraphappy.org/subscribe, you can get on my newsletter. Then you'll always get notified about important things. There we go. Anyways, enough of that. I just always forget. I forget to like say, hey, I do cool things. Come join us. Oh, that corner is not very taped. Okay, I think I've got enough tape on this thing. What do you guys think? It's okay. The little bit extra that you spend on tape is all good. Gina says, we're so proud of our crafts. We just make that we want to keep them for a little, right? I know, when we make something good. So I have played with the daubers, the wooden daubers with the little foam tips. I have played with the finger daubers, the little ones that you stick on your end and you have a little sponge dauber. I have played with so many applicators. This is what you need. Let's just not beat around the bush. This is what you need. And you don't necessarily need this many of them. I haven't even used them all yet. You need brushes. You need really soft brushes. Like really nice soft brushes. Now, I've had some that were repurposed makeup brushes. These are just like a no-name makeup brush. This is not very soft, I'm gonna tell you. This is not anywhere soft compared to these. These are so soft. Like, I don't know if you can see the difference. You can't feel the difference. I'll feel it for you. These are really soft. This is like a kitty or a bunny. This is, you know, some other thing. Oh, and apparently it had ink on it. So we're off to a great start. I've I've already got inky fingers. It's okay. I've got some paper towel handy and a little spray bottle with some water. And that way I can clean up my stencils afterwards too. Okay, so you just need these. These ones are from Gina K Designs. I do have a link for them. If you go to scraphappy.com/faves, FAVES, then you can see my favorites, and Gina K, it'll be on there, and I think the brushes are linked on there as well because I love her brushes. Question, is this a free event? These are totally free on YouTube for everybody to join in. So anybody can join us for this month, and it will be every weekday. We may not have one on Good Friday, only because I'm going to be hosting this time. So, and it's my 25th anniversary on the 17th. So there we go. That's happening too. Okay, so let's put this in the center. I want the center to be different, a different color. And so I'm going to attach this back into the center so that we can make sure that we've blocked off the whole center and that I don't have to work too hard to keep it clean, right? All the taping, oh my gosh. Let's see. Sophia says mongrel brushes as opposed to newly shampooed and ready for the dog show pedigree brush, right? I know. Yeah, some of the brushes are not the same. I really like Gina's. I haven't tried them all. I haven't even tried like the Tailored Expressions. Those were some of like the first ones I'd seen. I haven't tried them. I think I liked them, but the price I didn't like or something when I first saw them. And now I understand what you're paying for. Quality, imagine. Okay, so that one's not wanting to stick, but the rest look like they're sticking. Okay, so now we can play. So options for rainbows, right? Because I want to do like a lovely rainbow background. When I have a design like this, instead of going up and down across in rainbows, my mind instantly thinks diagonals might turn out better. Thank you. Vicky says happy anniversary. Thank you. Yeah, 25 feels so big. 25 feels so big. So yeah, my mind thinks diagonals, but I think to put an extra spin on it to see if we can get a different effect, I'm going to do diagonals, but I'm only going to swipe up away from me this time. And we'll see if that gives me a cool effect. So I'm gonna move these over a little. I gotta move my paper over a little. And we'll see if we can get a cool effect just from single directing the ink. It's supposed to work, but now we'll test it. So I'll swipe it on here a bit, and this could be even more taped down good, but and so I don't actually like measure to see how much. I just think I am going to be using 6 colors. So by the time I get to the center, I have to get my pink, my orange, and my yellow by the center. So that's kind of where I'm hitting with that. Vicky says, wait till you hit 50, right? And so I can actually already see how the ink application does look a little interesting based on only swiping in one direction. We'll look at this when I pull the template up, but I think we're going to see some interesting results. So I'm going to just switch. If you're worried about like, you know, the wrong color getting on your brushes, you can just give this like a quick little wipe on the top, on the surface, and that'll remove like anything that's too bad. But open this up. So the pink that I use is Passionate Pink from Gina K. I like her inks. I bought like almost all of them. There's a couple that I'm chasing down getting, I think, but do I really need them all? That's a good question. When I love using my rainbow, do I really need the rest? I don't know. But they do put out such nice things sometimes, right? That's how they get you. It's like, oh, look at this beautiful new thing that we do. So when I do my colors, obviously I'm going to do, ooh, and see, here's what I did. I went straight into the paper, right, straight onto the paper instead of onto the template first. So here's a tip. Start on the template and swipe onto the paper from the template, and you get less brush mark and more, so here, like when I swipe, so I'm only swiping one way. And I don't know that I did like a very good diagonal. Did I do a very good diagonal? Maybe not. We'll see. And this one here, I'm doing a little bit lighter on this swipe because this is going to be where we kind of blend into the yellow. And I may have to go back and like kind of cross over the areas. Ooh, there I am trying to swipe it the wrong way. I'm so used to going back and forth. But because these brushes are so soft, they really get into the little nooks and crannies. And it's such an easier way to do this. Oh, the orange that I'm using is Tangerine Twist for anybody that's like wants to know, if you need to know. Okay, so yellow is Wild Dandelion. And we'll go in here. And let's see, I'm thinking about my diagonals here. I'm just going to take a little bit of that orange off the top of the template. So as the brush, like when I load it up, I'm doing like the areas that need more ink, right? In the blending area between the two colors, in the main part of the color here. And then as I'm blending to where the green is going to start, I'm just doing it quite light in there. Like it's a lighter. Now the other thing about these brushes of Gina's, they don't come with these little things. You can get them. I don't know if you need them. Once you get them colored, you don't really need the things, and half the time it's in your way on your fingers. So yeah, I maybe wouldn't get those again if I'm like have them now, but whatever. But what I like is that if you want it light, you can just hold it like this and work the ink, right? And it will be light. But if you want it darker and you want more ink, you put a little pressure on the head of your brush, and man, does that ever work good. So that's a thing too. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so beautiful. I'm so excited to see that reveal at the end, right? Where you go from looking at this and you're like, oh, it looks pretty nice. And you pull that stencil off and you're like, oh, that moment, I love it. Probably that's why I like playing with stencils so much, is because that moment is such a little piece of magic. Okay, so I think that's enough dandelion. Let's give that a switch. We're gonna use Lucky Clover for green. See, this thing is hurting my finger. I'm gonna just pull it off. I might just get rid of them. What do you think? Would you just get rid of them? Like, can you? Just when you own them, I'm like, I own them. Should I just leave them, or should I just get rid of them? It's not like I won't tell now that I've got them all inked up. I'm gonna know what color goes where. Okay. I'm trying to catch myself. I caught myself trying to cheat again. Sophia says the ones I found just now in the UK seem to come with them already, like the little colored collars. Yeah, there you go. So maybe they came with them. I thought I ordered them separate, but maybe I didn't. Or maybe it was a different brand. Are you looking at this one? The reveal moment when a stencil is a kid like, it's melting when you use embossing powder. Exactly. So Honestly, if you ever want to get a friend involved in the stuff that you do, show them embossing. It's like the most magical, fun part of what we do. And then, yeah, then they're like, ooh. And then your friends get all involved. Because, like, that's what I did with my friends. So, it works. Show them the magic of embossing powder. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Ooh, this is gonna be lovely. And then go with my teal. I'm gonna take this one off right now too. There we go. And we'll one way get these done. It's not, I think I'm taking a long time. This feels like it's taking a long time, but you know, I think I'm not actually taking that long. So, stenciling doesn't have to be that long, right? If you're using one color can look gorgeous. I just, you know, love the whole rainbow, so that's extra fun. But you can do single color. Part of this isn't taped down very good, so I gotta hold it a little. Okay, that was Ocean Mist. That's the Ocean Mist color. And then finally, we're gonna finish it off with my Wild Lilac. Now, one thing I've heard, and I haven't, I haven't tested this myself, is I've seen suggestions that you don't use the same brushes for Distress Oxides as you do for your other stamps and inks. Does anybody know anything about that? You want to put something in the comments? Have you heard that before? Do you mix and match? Do you care? Like, what I've heard is that it's not a good idea to mix and match the brushes between the two. So I think maybe once or twice I've messed up and used these on my Distress Oxides because, you know, beautiful. But I am considering getting an extra set of brushes just because I was told that that's what you're supposed to do. So do I need to? Does it matter? I think it's because the texture of your oxides is really creamy and it leaves kind of stuff behind that maybe you don't want to mix onto your next ink pad. So that's the thing, right? Once you've loaded this up with Distress Oxide ink, then you take that back to your other stamp pads and you're gonna be cross-contaminating. Yeah, so Gina says the same. I've heard it's not good to mix. I haven't actually done it yet too much, like maybe once or twice, but yeah, it hasn't been something that I've done. I think I want to go over this little blend between the pink a little bit more because I think it's looking like it could be cooler. So let's do that. I'm taking this off. Look at me go. And just gonna go back into the pink section there and blend a little more between the pink and the orange. Okay, we are good. This is beautiful. Are you ready for the reveal? Camera, don't fail me now. Okay, so I'm gonna grab a couple pieces of the tape off of here. Sometimes you can reuse the tape. Sometimes it just doesn't work, you know. I'm gonna pull this off. Are you ready? I know, it's kind of a drop shadow effect, says Sylvia. Oh my god. It is so beautiful right now. Like, oh, don't you dare. Come on, camera. Don't you dare. That is beautiful. I'm so excited. Okay, let me pull it up so I can really show you. And I'll show you some of the details in it. Okay, so have a look at some of the detail. Oh, dear camera. Okay, tell you what, we'll switch back to my other camera for a minute and I'll convince it to play nice. Where is my other one? There we go. Okay, so I can convince it to focus. There we go. Look at how pretty it looks. And yeah, you kind of get those drop shadows. That was actually like the perfect description. We're working on getting a better camera for my top here, guys. We would have had it today, but technical difficulties didn't let it work out. Isn't it lovely? Oh my gosh. Okay, so rainbow stenciling, kind of magical, right? Oh, like I'm in love. And I'm so glad that I left the center white. If you look closely, I did not close that gap perfectly in all places. There's a tiny little mark right here. Sorry, here. And down here, I can see a tiny little mark on the green side. No, sorry, really bad. I'm really bad in the camera. Okay, so you can see a little tiny mark there, kind of where it sat in there. I don't think I'm worried about it. If I was, maybe I could take one of those little sand erasers. Isn't it gorgeous? Oh my gosh. And so I could totally do something different in the middle, but I think leaving it is probably the smartest thing ever. So that is one of the rainbow creations that we will do today. Let's have a look at what we could do with this stencil. It matches my shirt. I know, I wore the rainbow stripes today. We were talking rainbows. So I'm gonna just wipe my desktop a little bit. I get a little over the top from my stencil, so we'll just wipe that a little. There is a lot of ink right now on top of the stencil. We could try. Like, I don't see a problem in trying. We could try to see if we can get that to transfer onto another piece of paper. So, you know, worst case scenario, it doesn't work. Oh well, right? I'm gonna take the heart out and I will switch our camera view back and I'll show you what I'm gonna try. And we'll see. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Okay, let's go over here and we'll go. Okay, so here's the stencil. I pulled the tape off of it and it's gonna be imperfect, right? Like it's gonna be imperfect no matter what, even if it works as best as possible. Kind of heart-shaped picture, says Becky. I know, put it right in the center. Be all perfect. Okay, so I'm going to take a piece of my paper. Now the paper that I'm using is close to my heart, White Daisy cardstock. I used to be a consultant years ago. I fell in love with their White Daisy paper. It's really smooth, stuff blends on it really good, so I like it. Now to be able to get this to potentially smear, like it's not going to go if I just put it on here. I'm going to need either this to be wet or the paper to be wet. Not sure what would be the better idea, but I think I should mist the paper instead of here, because if I mist on here it's probably just gonna pool and make little puddles, but if I mist the paper will be a little damp and ready to accept that. Maybe should we see? Okay, so misting away and flipping it over, lining it up a little before it curls too much. And then I'm going to use my paper towel to press it down, maybe another little piece of it to really press it down. I didn't get it perfectly straight either from the looks of it. Okay, is it going? Did it go? Should we peek and see? Maybe I needed more water. Well, I think it kind of worked. I think it kind of worked. Okay, let's see if I can convince it to just pull a little more of that ink off of there. Ooh, if I had a brayer, maybe I would brayer this, right? With a brayer? I think I have one in like a million years away. Like, I'm trying to think, like, how long ago did I buy a brayer? I can always lay the stencil down flat on your mat, spritz, and then spritz. Yeah, I was worried if I spritzed on the stencil that it would just pool too much as little bubbles. Okay, should we lift it? Should we look? Potential reveal number 1 or reveal number 2, and we'll see if it's any good. So not good. This little corner worked. That teased me. That teased me so much. Oh my gosh. Okay, well now I'm going to try spritzing this and then trying it again, because why not, right? So that didn't work that well. I'm going to try lining up the little flowers that I did see that worked, and then we're going to try it again. So now you'll know. Okay, I think we got more. Yeah, and there's still some areas that didn't. So I'm seeing that this purple area didn't go. I'm just gonna keep trying it. I'm just lining it up as best as I can. Yeah, that's good. It's working, it's working. What other, this little area right here. I'll just do a couple little spots and we'll call it good. Because I think this will be beautiful too. You watch. I'll end up using this one before I use the other one. That seems to be what happens, right? So this one won't go. I think it's kind of cool. It's a little bit not dark enough for what I would want to do though. Like it's really, if it had more of the heart shape, it would be better. It just didn't carry enough over. So somewhat disappointing. Somewhat disappointing. Yeah, we'll see. We'll set that aside. Okay. I didn't promise that these were all gonna work perfectly. Okay, that's gonna have to go to my sink, I think. Because I can wipe it, but I can just like rinse the whole thing in the sink. So give me 1 second, and I will be right back. And I'm back. So thankfully my sink is close by. Yeah, so let's grab another stencil and try a different style. So what we did with that one was diagonal, and we saw these other ones where I did some different shapes. What I haven't showed is just like a straight on rainbow, but you know, we've all done straight on rainbows. So what I'm thinking might be cool to try, and we're gonna need a different stencil. So I want one that has a lot of dots. This one has hearts and has a lot of dots, but maybe we'll try a different geometric one. I probably have a new geometric one that I haven't even played with yet. Oh, I do, but that's way too... Yeah, I need a lot of dots or something. How big is that? Oh, that's a full size. No, that's not going to give me the effect that I need. Okay, I'm going to go back and use that heart one, I guess. With all the little hearts. So the mini hearts one that I'm going to pull out is from Scrapping Reflections too. What a shock. Shock, shock, shock. Okay, so we're going to try this one, and I want to do a sunburst, kind of like a swirled design, so that we come out and we go across and make, like, say we put like a sun here and then everything kind of comes out from that spot. Or it could be here coming out from that spot, but I want them to kind of make curved lines, and we'll see what we can do for that. yeah, I'm gonna need a piece of paper for that. And I think this should be pretty fun. Like those little pieces, they're not gonna work. This tape is like sticky but not sticky, if anybody knows what I mean. Like it's barely sticky enough. Okay, I'm gonna tape this down. Okay, I think that's pretty good for the paper. And then the stencil. The stencils really have to get taped because otherwise they're a nightmare. So always tape your stencil nice and secure. Unless you're doing like a little patch on a layout. Like if I'm just doing like a little tiny corner, not a big deal. Ladina's here and she says she's just getting on and joining us. Today we are playing with rainbow stencils and I have just created one background that was gorgeous. I'm so excited with that, and we used a diagonal pattern using swiping in only one direction. So ta-da, that was the fabulous one that we just did. And this time we're gonna try kind of a version of a radial design, but we're going to make it a radial with curves. I have a small template that is similar to what I'm going to show you. I'll show you so that you get an idea of what I'm trying to achieve here. I have a small one that's like that. So yeah, something a little bit more like this kind of design, but we're going to do it on a bigger scale and with this. So something kind of like that, but flipped, I guess. So that's where we're going. We'll see how it goes. It will be beautiful. That's how it's gonna go. Okay, let's get that on there. This thing is taped. Perfect. I get it all done good, and then it's not good. Okay, don't want to cover up any of my little hearts. The other thing you can do is if you want to cover up certain parts, you can like use your tape, use your washi, use like your purple tapes or whatever to cover up specific areas so that you can leave them. So maybe I was gonna do my title in this area here, and I just take a roll of this and I cover up some of that area so that I kind of leave this nice white blank spot just for my title. So if you know your title and you line it up ahead of time, you could totally leave this perfect little spot behind it. Sorry, I know that's distracting. And that would be a really cool effect too. I don't know what my title is going to be for this. I just want to make some pretty paper today, and so we're going to go from there. Okay, so I think that as I go from here, the hardest part is going to be condensing everything in the tight corner. The spreading out to the other areas should be a lot easier. And I can kind of think like, you know, this part here is all going to be the pink, and then the orange, and then the yellow is going to come into here, and then the green. So yeah, and I just want to make sure that they're kind of curving. I think it might be better for me to start in the center and then create the curve, and that way I can build the curve out from there. If anybody's done this before and they're like, you're doing it all wrong, go ahead and tell me now. Go ahead and tell me now. So let's get my colors lined up again, and we'll go from there. But yeah, I think applying colors in different patterns is such a good way for us to play with our stuff. So I want to go kind of light into there, and then I'm going to create an arch like this. Right. How does that look? Not too bad, hey? Okay, so now I can kind of deepen the colors in there. And I'm gonna go both ways on this, like rub the ink down and rub the ink up. On the last one, we just rubbed in a single direction, but this time we'll rub it both ways into the stencil. Okay, so let's go with that, and maybe I will come into the green here next. And I'm gonna kind of draw my bottom line for the green first. And then I'll work in from there. I think this is gonna be really cool. So I'm excited to kind of see, because I think, yeah, now that I'm kind of seeing it come into action, I'm like, well, I had this crazy idea, but you know, until you actually see it coming together. And as we saw with that other thing, like sometimes it just doesn't work out that good. I have had stencils where I have gone back and added the extra ink, and then I've made actually things that are prettier, but that's been more when I'm using misting. When I do spraying with misting with the stencil, that's when I've been able to have the best like second transfers or whatever. That's when I've had the best ones like that. Okay, so I'm gonna work back up, taking all these little colored collars off of my things so that my fingers don't get like damaged. But yeah. Okay. Oh, guys, this is going to be so beautiful. I can tell already. This is going to be a super fun reveal. Okay, let's do the little blend. And let's go in with the pink, the passionate pink. So, who was it? I just saw a company. So my friend April, she was showing me Tailored Expressions. Has anybody seen their new ink colors? So it more looks like a fall palette or something, but the colors had the craziest names. If anybody knows, sorry, I've got to get this thing to stop bouncing. If anybody knows the color names, go ahead and pop them in here. Or if you want to, like, someone wants to look that up for us. The color names were things like onion and tuna or something. Like, they were crazy. I'm like, what on earth? Why? Like, would you buy that? Would you buy inks called onion and tuna? Like, onion, tuna. They were just terrible names. I think they were from Tailored Expressions. So if somebody wants to pop that and let us know just how bad those names really were. Okay, so I think I'm getting a really nice blend between some of these colors. Those are looking really good this time around. One of the things that when you're going from purples into pinks, if you're doing something where those purple and pink come back together, I tell you, those look like nice blends too. Okay, let's go back into my Ocean Mist. Gina K has a few of these colors that look pretty similar to me, actually. She has a few. When I did my swatches, I'm like, is that the same color? Did I mess it up? Nope, not very appealing. I know! Like, I want my things to be called Passionate Pink and Tangerine Twist, but I don't think I want to play with onion. Like, I'm sorry. I am not their market. I don't like onions, so maybe if you love onions, are you like, cool, I can't wait to use onion ink. But yeah, for myself, that was questionable. Okay, so this is cool. Bring that in there. A little little tiny bit down into the purple section. And we'll go with our purple, which is Wild Lilac. And maybe if it's Purple Onion. It was a yellow. That was the onion one. I don't know. It's like, not my thing. Not my thing at all. Really strange. Maybe that's an April Fool's Day joke? Oh my gosh. I think they just released it. That's gotta be an April Fool's Day joke. Am I like just so gullible I believed that? Please tell me they didn't name something onion and tuna. That's gotta be April Fool's. Oh my gosh. Like, I'm the biggest sucker. Like, put that on my head. I believed it. So they got me. That's gotta be an April Fool's. They wouldn't actually name their stuff that. So somebody tell me, be like, Alice, you totally fell for it, you big sucker. I love it though. That's brilliant. I'm glad they played the game. Okay, here we go. Time for this sounds like April Fool's, right? Okay, so now it's like, okay, so that's gotta be it. So funny. Okay, so let's peel some tape so that we can pull this up nicely for the big reveal. And oh my gosh, I can just tell, like, it's gonna be gorgeous. If it was today, that sounds, yeah, I know, it's gotta be, right? Okay, here we go. Camera, stay with me. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. And like, you don't get the perfect lines of it. It does look more straightish or something. I don't know, but it's just beautiful. Like, does it matter if it's not like with those curvy lines? It's so pretty. Oh, I love it. Okay, let's go here and let's switch back to camera, and I will show you just how gorgeous this is. Like, you can kind of see the lines a little bit, right? But it's not like in your face. Oh, now look at the blends, like where it switches from the pinks to the orange, and where it switches from the yellows to the greens, and where it switches into the purples, the purple blues. Like, I think that part with the purple blue right in here is like some of my very favorite. Oh, I love that so much. They're so gorgeous. It was a joke. Okay, thank you. I'm so relieved, but mad I fell for it. Yeah, so really fun. Oh my gosh. Love it, right? So beautiful. Well, this has just been so much fun. Hopefully you were inspired by something that I saw today. If it inspires you to pick up your stencils and create something with rainbow, would you please tag me? I would so love to see what you make. Tag me on Instagram right here. If you're in our Scrap Happy membership or in the Circle community, you can tag me in our Circle community from Scrap Happy. The Calvin Ballers, we just finished our month of Calvin Ball, which was amazing, and we'll have our final points total late tonight. So I can't wait to announce our Calvin Ball winners. But yeah, I was really excited to be back for this series. I get to play with all kinds of creative things that are inspiring to me. So today we talked about rainbows and stencils, but we're going to be visiting some mixed media. We're going to look at some ways to talk about themes of layouts. We're going to talk about some fun tools and play with some tools. So I think that it's just such a fun way for us to kind of hang out and connect and do some fun crafty things. I will be back every weekday this month, I think every weekday at the same time. So 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Mark your calendar, set it up for weekdays, and just so that you know to come right over to our Scrap Happy YouTube channel. And if you're catching the replay, I'm so glad. And these will all be put into a single playlist. In fact, I'm adding them to the playlist from our other Happy at Home sessions from last year and the year before. So If you want to see what kinds of fun, crazy things we got up to last year and the year before, then please feel free to check out all of those as well. This has been such a success today. Like, how much fun are these? And, I think any of our stencils that we have a lot of potential for us to make fun things that are custom for our own scrapbooking. Like, I love the storytelling part of scrapbooking, and I love the creativity part of scrapbooking. And those just go really hand in hand and really work together for us. If you want to know a little bit more about how I feel like that and a little bit of inspiration for telling some stories, please do check out the podcast episode that our most recent one that's coming up. I was going to post it this week, but I was going to wait till next week. How about if I post it today? No, I can't post it today. I'm going to have to wait till Tuesday. So Tuesday, we have a podcast episode coming up, and it's already ready. I didn't pick the scheduling for it yet. So the episode that we have coming up is talking about journaling and getting some stories. Diane, you're so sweet. She says, don't forget to hit the like button. I always forget to ask. Please like. If you're not subscribed yet, you can hit that. You can hit the little bell if you want. I only post things that I think are going to be fun, exciting, inspiring. So hopefully that's what I brought to you today. And I will be back Monday because it's Friday. So I will be back on Monday at the same time, and we will be creating with more fun things. We will visit stencils again, but we will do different things with stencils this month. So just loving stencils. Okay, thank you everyone for joining me, and I hope that you have a fabulous weekend and happy scrapping. Bye.